Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm extremely excited to be talking about these new Grant Stone drops in Garnet Shell Cordovan, as well as bring you guys a few new updates on my channel, as well as for my shop. Before I really get started into the shell drops, which is why we're all here, I did want to mention I will be changing my channel name both on YouTube as well as on Instagram to Dale's Leatherworks. I feel like it's more appropriate now. Something that I've been delaying doing. I was thinking that I would just stay Aero Surfer LV forever, and I consulted with a lot of my friends, and while they know me as that and while I've been referenced as that, I think it's time to sort of get a little bit more professional. I've had that Aero Surfer LV handle I think since 2014, 2015. It was fine, you know, it was a handle that I developed when I was like 17 years old and still in high school. The story there is I was visiting my sister who lived in Vegas at the time. That summer, I used to spend summers out there with her, and that summer we went surfing in San Diego, and I went skydiving as well for the first time. That was like my coming of age summer, if you will, as a young man. I got to do some stuff that I always wanted to do, some adventurous stuff. I did it basically on a Las Vegas trip, and so for that reason I was Aero Surfer LV for all that time. I literally created that email address back in probably 2002. So, and then I just kept, whenever a new platform would come out, I'd just use that as my moniker, sort of. It's time to leave juvenile pursuits behind. Let's get real. It's time to get serious. I'm starting to take on more of a professional type persona with social media, and with that comes maturity, with that comes leaving old things behind and adopting something that's just a little bit more professional now that I'm trying to do leather as a serious thing. And it's good for networking purposes as well. It looks kind of unprofessional when you talk to a company and say, hey, I'm Aero Surfer LV. I feel like I'm trapped in a 17-year-old's username. That's why the time is now. I'm gonna change it all to Dale's Leatherworks. Dale's Leatherworks on Instagram, Dale's Leatherworks on YouTube, so you can find me there. So I think it'll be a good, healthy rebranding. I'd like to know your guys' opinion on that, by the way. What do y'all think about the change? Are you for it or against it? I will be reading all your comments as always. All right, and here we have my co-host for the video, Wyatt Gilmore. It's getting a little dusty over there. Yeah, he's been off in the corner for so long. Might as well bring him back into the frame, right? So Wyatt's back, and he ain't going nowhere. You know, it's the funniest thing, actually. People always think that this is a picture of myself. I joke, you know, Wyatt and I are pretty much the same person in a lot of ways. Believe it or not, the universe created two of us, and so there are two separate individuals on this planet that have just as good of taste in fine footwear. So let's get started talking about the diesel boot. So these are the Grant Stone diesels in Garnet Shell Cordovan. It's also known as Color 2 Shell Cordovan. So this is a very rare leather. If you guys have been following my channel for a while, I like to complain and moan a lot about the scarcity of rare shell cordovan. I've been buying Alden since 2013. The only rare shell that I have is from the Grant Stone team. I have been able to order some rarer colors from Indonesia, like Junkerd, so it's easy to get. If you're looking at it through the lens of you're going to go custom, you're going to go Indonesian, you're going to order stuff from China or from Indonesia or something like that, then yes, you can get a rare shell color. But if you're in the States and you're landlocked and you have an Alden shop near you, good luck. You have to basically cozy up to these people. You have to get on their lists. You have to be loyal buyers from them before they'll ever get you on a rare shell run. But then, you know, sometimes you just hear, oh, one day just a random guy walked in and they had some rare shell and the salesman was feeling nice and generous and they let him have a pair, you know. So you hear stories like that too. Anyways, it's kind of maddening that it's taken almost a decade to get some rare shell in my collection. It just goes to show you how sort of rigged the game is. You have to be a member of the Shelluminati in order to get your hands on some. So Grant Stone makes it easy. They launch a pre-order, which is about a 5-month wait. You put in your order, the boots come, they're yours. There's no stress, there's no chase, there's no hunting. It's just good, pure, open, honest, transparent business. That's what I love about Grant Stone. Wyatt is a very upfront guy, very honest guy, very outstanding individual. I'm proud to call him a friend. I recorded this video a while back. At the time of recording the video, I noticed that they had the brass boot. They did like a small run of brass boots in garnet shell, and so I ordered those in 8.5, and then I started thinking, wait, so I got these in an 8E. 8E, I think I've settled on 8E as being my ideal Grant Stone size. The 8.5s, you know, especially on this Floyd last, are a little generous. That said, it is a good fit. Like even, so like these are my Maduro shell Cordovan brass boots, and I thought, okay, maybe they're a little loose fitting, so I put in my thin insole. It actually was too tight, even with my thin 5-ounce veg tan leather insole. That tells me that the volume on the inside is good at the 8.5. I do like that, but the full size down and the one width up brings me to 8E, and I really like that a little bit more. It locks me in just a little bit better. It feels like, you know, a bespoke fit for my foot. Now these 8.5D, still good. I still wear them, still love them. But moving forward with Grant Stone, I think all my orders are going to be 8Es. Now, that said, in the Leo last, I do think that I might prefer the 8.5D. I don't know yet. I bounce between 8E and 8.5D, the standard half down. There's no really huge substantial difference. So I half wonder if I like the 8.5s a little better. Jury's still out. I will do an update video when I figure it out. But for now, I do like the strategy of the full size down, the half size up. I did get these brass boots in an 8.5D, and then shortly thereafter, Grant Stone released a pre-order where I could customize the fit, and so I pre-ordered them in an 8E. And so I sent the 8.5Ds back. Grant Stone making it easy for guys like me, simpletons like me, to get their hands on the perfect fit rare shell color. I couldn't be happier. So these came in, I let them sit on the shelf for a while and sort of just basked in their newness. That's one of the things I really like to do. Before I wear it, I like to just kind of have it in the box and opening up a new gift periodically, and it's new like every time you open it, so you get to re-experience it time and time again. But then the time came where I'm like, okay, I need to start wearing these. You know, what am I sitting on? I think a good couple weeks is a healthy amount of time to let boots sit in the box. I think these sat in the box for like 2.5 months. That's not good. You know, just like modern wine is meant to be drank now, modern boots are meant to be worn now. So I started wearing them, and yeah, they're a dream come true. I really just love this fiery ruby red that these boots have. This is probably one of my favorite shell colors of all time. I've always loved garnet. I've always loved Ravello, but garnet has always just been that bright, popping, ruby, beautiful cherry red color, and it's basically dyed using the same pigments as color 8. I think it just has a quarter the amount of dyes in there, so it's a much lighter red color. These are built on the proprietary Grant Stone Lug Commando full sole, which I absolutely love. This is an adventurer's sole. This is, you know, I did my top 10 boots of all time video, but I think these just jumped into that running because it is a rare shell color. It's one of my favorite rare shell colors, and it's on that Lug Commando sole. It's got a 360-degree split reverse welt with a Goodyear welt. What I really like about the edge staining is they stain the edges, like instead of going natural for a contrast like they did on these diesel boots, they actually went for more of a darker cherry stained edge. It's not black, but it's more of a cherry. I think that's very tasteful. Wyatt always makes very tasteful selections when it comes to matching the edges, the welting, the uppers, all of it. We got the 2-speed hooks, good move there. We've got thin cotton laces, love that. Hand-stitched mock toe. They skived around the edge of this boot, which looks really sharp. When I say skive, what I mean is I have one here. This is a leather working tool called a skiver. This is a number 3 skive. Anyways, this is a more expensive one. I think I paid $55 for this one. But yeah, what you do, you come along the edge of the leather. Heck, I could do it right here. If it's sharp, you can get one good piece of spaghetti out of it like that. One good one good leather noodle right there. But basically what that does is it just creates a 90-degree sharp edge and just makes it a little bit, you know, cuts it down to 45-degree angle, makes it a lot more ergonomic to touch and to feel. Not all leather edges need that. It's just a preferential type thing. I do it on the edges of some of my bags, especially if the edges are going to get bunched up too much. I'll skive down the edges just so that they can mesh and bend and interact easier. I don't always recommend skiving edges, especially like on the uppers. These edges are not skived, which is good. You don't want to skive off, you know, shell cordovan needlessly. The other really cool thing about these boots is Grant Stone does not cheap out. These tongues are shell cordovan as well. For equivalency's sake, when I do a run of shell cordovan kilties on my website, dalesleatherworks.com, I charge $70 per set because shell is just so dang expensive. One shell alone is usually like $150. There's a good $300 worth of shell in this boot already. I would say $250 to $300. I bought these at the low cost of $700. So, you know, Grant Stone's margins on these cannot be big. I don't imagine. I don't see how they're making a whole ton of money selling these, especially through duties and importing and everything. I can't even imagine. They do not cheap out. These tongues are full shell cordovan. Sometimes when I order a boot from like Indonesia or something, they put the tongue in a different leather. Because it doesn't really matter. The tongue's not really all that visible. You're really focused on the upper anyways, but Grant Stone uses a shell cordovan tongue. That is very impressive to me. That's a huge plus. That really shows that they're serious, that they're doing it right. They are not skimping at all. You're not you're not getting a lackluster piece of footwear by any means. Every step of the way, they're doing it right by their customers, and I really love that. And last but not least, this is a pair I have not worn and might not wear till next summer. I might just keep these in the box, you know, so disregard my guidance on not wearing a boot for 2 weeks. But I give myself a pass on this because these are wingtips, and they're my first pair of Grant Stone wingtips. I've never had a pair of Grant Stone wingtips before in the same leather, the Garnet Shell Cordovan. Yeah, when I saw that they did the release on the Diesel, the brass boot, as well as the wingtips, I said, sign me up for all three, because it's the pragmatic thing to do after all. Wow, and I haven't even really taken a really close look at these. Wow, just first off, the smell of fresh shell out of the box is just so amazing. You could contrast the look of it to some shell that's already been worn. Stark contrast. Let's get a look at these wingtips. So these are also in an 8E, gorgeous pinking. So these are long wings, which are my favorite. I like long wings better than short wings. Just amazing pinking all the way around. Alden calls this design the gunboat style. It's also got pinking all along the quarter, pinking and broguing all along the wings. We've got an amazing medallion shape on the toe there. These are also 360-degree Goodyear welted with a split reverse welt. These also have a cherry stained edge, and these are on the Grant Stone leather outsole, which is my favorite outsole. It is by far the most supportive, the most moisture wicking, and contrary to popular belief, the leather outsole does not wear down quickly at all. Does it wear down a little faster than rubber? Yes, but the benefits, in my opinion, far outweigh the negatives for sure. Well, this is just a masterpiece of a wingtip. If I could choose any wingtip in the world, it would probably be these. It'd be either these or whiskey shell, but I think it's these. Really just love red. I really love the garnet shell, truly. It's such an amazing, rich ruby color. Speaking of which, on my website, dalesleatherworks.com, I am offloading a lot of used boots and shoes, including boots and shoes that I've agreed to take in for my friends to sell. So check out that. That's going to be constantly being updated in the weeks and months moving forward. Speaking of, I have a pair of Alden Alpine Grain wingtips in size 8.5D on there in a really beautiful alpine. It's also a ruby red color. It's like a Scotch grain type of a texture to it, and I'm selling those for fairly cheap. They do have toe tips installed by my cobbler Sunny on there. These are going to be the replacements for those. So if you're interested in those, I think I have them listed on there for 200 bucks. So not a bad deal there if you want to jump on those. That's going to do it for now. Who else jumped on the Garnet Shell pre-order? I'm stoked. I can't wait to really start breaking all these in. They're also amazing. I'm so blessed to have all of them. Super huge thanks to Grant Stone, as always, for making the dream a reality when it comes to rare shell. And in other news, Grant Stone just released the brass boot in navy Chromexcel, which I also hopped on. So that video will be coming up here shortly. But in the meantime, if you're interested in those, it looks like they have most sizes available and in many widths, including E and triple E widths. It's an absolutely, I call it lightning in a bottle. It's got, I never like black stained edges, almost never, but in this case, it really contrasts beautifully with the navy Chromexcel upper, which also has notes of aqua, marine, teal in it. So I will leave a link to those in the description below if you are interested to check those out, and stay tuned for that video that will be coming up here shortly. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Let's keep the love of Garnet Shell alive. I'll see y'all in my next video.